Gracemont, no power. Let's go and check out the broad view. Let's check out the metro area, kind of look at the broad view of the metro as folks starting to wake up, want to know what's going on with those storms. And now as it moves toward Oklahoma City, let's, if we can, Cass, kind of zoom that shot out and look at the view of Oklahoma City. Again, these storms now tracking just to the west of Oklahoma City. These storms have a history of very heavy rainfall. The flooding rainfall have a history of some large hail and wind gusts to 70 miles per hour. So these are now just west of Oklahoma City, running from near El Reno down to Tuttle. Extreme winds out of this, heavy rain, a lot of lightning coming out of these. So the lightning is extreme, now tracking into the Oklahoma City area with that heavy rain now starting to move into the southwest sides of the metro from southwest of Moore, and that extends down into the Norman area. Cass, if we can zoom that in, that'd be fantastic. Thank you, ma'am. There you go.
Which part do you want to zoom in on?
Okay, so yes, so here on Links 3, you can look at also at the view on Next Gen 2, so we can look at the...
That's having a little bit of interference right now.
Okay, yeah. Well, very good. So there's your storm right now. Now moving to the southwest sides, it's moving to Blanchard, near Tuttle, Minco, Union City, now just west of El Reno. And Val talked about the Gracemont area. There it is right there in the center of the screen. Gracemont getting rocked right now with heavy winds, strong winds, and large hail out of that storm. This storm has had a history of golf ball size hail. So strong winds and hail coming out of the storm now from near Anadarko, Gracemont up to the Lookeba, Cedar Lake area. Strong winds and hail coming out of that as that tracks on toward the, say 281 highway right now. That'll keep tracking eastbound. You can see our trackers out there this morning. There's Jeremy. We got Val right there. Back a little bit further to the northwest. That is Marty up in the northwest part of the state. And those are the shots you see there. Pocasset, Gracemont, Pocasset, and Clinton right now with those storms now tracking through those areas. Heavy rainfall, and again, the flooding rainfall and strong winds are the main story with these. There is some hail. We've had a little rotation out of these, but again, wind, just a big wind bag as we're calling it here with the storms rolling through. That flooding rain, you see it there extending now from Hammond down to Clinton, on down to Weatherford, now getting over into the Hinton area. If you remember yesterday, Hinton had close to 5 inches of rainfall yesterday. Add on top of that, over 2 inches of rainfall. So flooding rainfall is going to be a concern in northern parts of Caddo County now, as this track kind of following similar to the one that we had from yesterday, now moving down to the south and west sides of Oklahoma City. Let's check in with our trackers right now. We've been watching Marty's shot out in the Clinton area. A lot of the rain has let up, but the flooding is continuing. Let's check in with Marty. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're still here at the railroad that is being washed. I'm going to give you a close-up shot right there. I think we've got some kind of a tin horn that's wedged up on the backside of that railroad track. As I'm talking to you, Kyle's getting a call from a Clinton firefighter, so we'll find out if there's some more news that we need to be covering here in town. But look underneath that bridge, that railroad trestle is being washed out a huge amount. So we're going to stay here. We'll find out what Kyle's got and get back with you.
All right, very good. So that's the Clinton area. Clinton still, the rain stopped for the most part, but boy, the flooding, it continues. Let's go a little further south, down near Gracemont right now. Let's check with Val Castor. Val, you've been dealing with a lot of rain. You're kind of trying to stay on the leading edge of it. You kind of mentioned it's kind of strange that you haven't been in the hail quite yet. Well, it's just your west. Let's get an update from you.
Well, that just to our west has now come on top of us. We're starting to get a little bit of hail. Right before you came to me, we could hear a few pings of probably smaller than dimes, probably ½ inch. But once again, we're not right in the middle of the biggest hail core. And by the way, we are just north of Anadarko. The gust front, the full force of the gust front is not here yet, but we are getting 50-mile-an-hour winds. And by the way, I know that Cassie was talking about power outages a while ago. The town of Gracemont is completely dark. No power in Gracemont at this time. Back to you.
All right, very good. Let's go further east. Let's check in with Jeremy. Jeremy's right now near, just north of Chickasha, near Amber. Jeremy, you're kind of in between storms right now. Let's get an update from you.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, what I can say for sure is I can see these clouds are coming all around us, and they're really, really dark. The main thing is going to be wind and hail. That's what we're going to be watching for. Back to you, Jed.
All right, very good. Just a little further south of you right now, Cassie's kind of highlighted a storm on Lynx 3 that has really intensified. Cassie, why don't you give an update on those times of arrival?
Yeah, I'm working on this particular storm that is moving right through Rush Springs because it's putting out up to baseball-size hail with this particular storm. It could be moving right through Rush Springs along Highway 81. So it's moving to the east-northeast at about 30 to 35 miles an hour. So it's going to be in Ellick at about 8:42. Lindsay at 8:56, Payne at 9:05, Washington at 9:21, Purcell at 9:28, Slaughterville at 9:37, Tribby at 10:04, and Macomb at 10:10. And again, it's got a really big hail core on this, so I would not be surprised if we're at least seeing up to golf ball size hail, but it has been putting out up to baseball size hail. You can see that it's intensified pretty quickly just south of Rocky Ford. It's going to be moving right through Rush Springs. Now some of the stronger or the bigger hail sizes might just miss the downtown Rush Springs. It might be just to the north of that as it's kind of trying to move off to the east northeast. So we'll see if that happens, but nonetheless some very big hail there. We definitely have a hail event that's taking place just south of Gracemont right now. We are certainly going to see some hail moving into Gracemont, but right now it's showing up to golf ball size hail there. But moving towards the Gold River Casino, it's showing up to baseball size hail within that storm as well. So some large golf balls, certainly, but maybe up to baseball size hail. I think that's going to be a little bit more isolated with these storms. I'm going to move a little bit farther to the north. We could see up to golf ball size hail just south, or really right now, it looks like it updated into Minko. Val, do you have an update?
No. I was just going to say we're starting to get a little bit of hail now in the town of Anadarko.
Okay. Would you say that's pea size or?
I would say half inch, maybe just barely below dimes, and there was just a couple of them. But, you know, I get the feeling we're right on the edge of it. I think it's fixing to crash us in just a little bit.
Yeah. Val, compared to where you are, so you're in Anadarko, and I'm zooming in on Lynx 3 here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would say
Marty's in flooded house.
Okay, Marty, we'll come to you in here in just a moment. But the larger hail, it just updated. The stronger hail core is now going to be up more towards Gracemont. So downtown Gracemont, I would definitely expect up to golf ball size hail. But Val, it looks like the hail core actually came down a little bit as it's moving into Anadarko. So I'm going to go ahead and put in our Barron button. It's showing still up to golf ball size hail around there, but it's definitely weakened around there. That hail core has come down a little bit, but not in Gracemont. It has actually increased quite a bit. So if you are in the town of Gracemont, just keep in mind we're going to have probably some damage in there, some pretty big. Okay, now Val's getting some nickels. Now. Okay. And
we'll be able to tell you because I got to stop and get fuel. I'm just about gone on fuel here. So, and the hail's getting bigger too.
Yeah, and we can see that.
Anyway, we'll be here for a few minutes, and if it's got big hail, we're going to find out. Back to you.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
That you mentioned earlier, how dark these storms are. It's amazing how dark it is underneath these massive storms that you're going through.
Yeah. Look how dark it is. I mean, yeah, that's what we noticed earlier when we first came into it. It was black as night when we looked north up to that storm. And, you know, right now I know the sun is up, but it almost looks like it's you know, fixing to be sunset out here because it's just so dark. There's such a mass of clouds and rain and water up above us blocking the sun. Hey, we just got a quarter.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Just got a quarter.
We just saw it hit your windshield.
You know what? I'm going to turn. I'm going to try to get a better shot. I'll get soaked anyway if I try to get gas. We're going to turn and get you a shot of this wind because this is getting crazy out here. Look up there underneath the overhang at this gas station. Look at the wind blowing. Let me put a shot in it. And there is still hail falling, but I mean so far it's not huge. We're getting some quarters mixed in.
What are you estimating your winds right now, Val?
55 or so. Okay, now we're getting bigger than quarters. Let me turn the shot over here. It's splashing, and you hear that noise?
Yeah.
It's ping pong ball size. Ping pong ball size hail. As a matter of fact, look in the grass. Zoom up in the grass right there. There you go. See that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely coming
Yeah,
down.
it's coming. It is coming down hard and getting harder all the time. Yeah, ping pong balls, maybe even golf balls. I'm trying my best to get some light on this here. Big hailstorm in Anadarko right now.
Okay, and if you're seeing ping pong ball size hail down in Anadarko, Grace Mont's got to be seeing something larger than that. Just looking in the reflectivity on these decibels, it looks like it's going to be big time. And right now, the hail detector actually right over Uval has up to tennis ball size hail coming in just to the west of you. So I wouldn't be surprised if it does get a little bit bigger. And looking at Mesonet, we've got wind gusts as high as around 45 miles an hour, but looking at velocity, it does certainly look like just to the north of you, we've easily got wind gusts between 50 to 55. So strong winds, some large hail, some very heavy rain.
Yeah, if you're talking to me, Cassie, it's so loud in here I can't tell. But you look at you can kind of get an idea of how strong the wind is in the lights of that gas station overhang right there. And as I zoom down, look at the flood of water in this parking lot. You can see the hail splashing, and look at that. I mean, is that crazy or what?
Wow.
Marty has a fire truck doing rescues.
All right, let's go.
It's the hail size is close to golf ball size.
Okay.
We'll just say that.
Let's go up into the Clinton area real quick. Let's check in with Marty Logan. Marty's dealing with some flooding there up in the Clinton area. Marty, let's get an update. What do you got for us?
Yeah, what you're looking at right now, I believe, is a Clinton fire truck. When we did the last hit, Kyle had a call him and tell him that these houses were flooded. I'm going to pan back out. I want you to look. Look over here at these houses. We just had a four-wheeler go through this area. The water was about 1 to 2 foot deep. We are looking north, right up the road. Houses on both sides completely flooded. The gentleman over here on the right just said that he had received around 4 inches of rain. And right here in front of my truck, this water is about 1 to 2 foot deep. That four-wheeler, well, I can't see it, but four-wheeler right over just went through it. All right, here we go. We're going to go. Here's some person coming over to the fire truck. Oh, he's got a wet vac, I guess. He's going to have to wait a while to let that work. But so Clinton firefighters out here trying to take care of the neighborhood. And rain is just down to sprinkles now, but major flooding in Clinton.
Marty, are you seeing any water rescues in the Clinton area right now?
No, the Clinton firefighters said that they were just doing drive-ins and picking people up and getting them back out. As far as the water rescues like you had in Oklahoma City yesterday, that's not happening here. But these guys are going in with a big deuce and a half, plenty of ground clearance, and helping people out.
All right, very good there, Marty. Let's go to Lynx 3. Cass is drawing some times of arrival. Now, we're kind of concerned for the Metro because the Metro had such heavy rainfall yesterday, and in those same exact areas that had the heavy rain from yesterday, it's happening once again. This is that big band of rain. You know, we showed you Val shot with the large hail, golf ball size hail, all that wind, all that rain. That's extending across Caddo County. Just to the east of there, this is going to be Grady County. And then right up in here, this is Oklahoma City. So the times of arrival on when this big batch to our west finally moves on in. You can see it rolling toward Oklahoma City. Here about, again, the Tiger Safari area at 8:49. Alex at 8:50. Gets close to the metro area.
I've got it staying just south of Oklahoma City at this point. We will get some rain for sure.
It's not officially Oklahoma City. It's close. Maybe I need to get better glasses here. But watching the times of arrival here, moves into Mustang, 8:56. There we go. Mustang, 8:56. Norman, 9:29. Near the Tinker area, 9:36. And Purcell, about 9:53. You were inundated yesterday, and you're more than likely going to be inundated here again as this line keeps tracking on to the east. Now, out ahead of that line, there are storms already forming up now that extend from Union City, Tuttle, back down to Blanchard. So the rain is already moving up into the Oklahoma City area, but the heaviest of the rain is just to the west right now.
Jed, I know that we have an update on power outages. Lacey, do you have that update?
Yeah, I'm on, guys. We will update that. It just jumped. Looked at that. Well over 10,000. So we've more than doubled the last time you guys came over to us. This is in Ouachita, Custer, and Caddo counties where that storm is pushing through. So nearing 11,000. Those shot up in the last 10 minutes or so, folks.
Okay. So again, you talked about Gracemont being without power, and again, that's one of those areas in Caddo County that's dealing with all those power outages. There's kind of the broad view. This is what's going on across Oklahoma right now. Areas of storms that have been going on this morning across West Oklahoma. That Clinton area we've been talking about on to the west over to Roger Mills County. 4, now almost 5 inches of rain in those areas. Things are improving there, but this storm line is on the move now, heading south. And it is heading back to the east, and this rain is now getting close to Oklahoma City. Heaviest of the rain now in those same areas that was inundated with all the rainfall from yesterday. So heavy rain, storms, those do continue again starting off this morning as that line tracks across central Oklahoma and areas to the south. Again, you see all the severe weather with this. Some of these winds out of this still are up near 70 miles per hour. It won't be continuous along the entire line. There are still some pockets of that, and still some of that hail, as you saw there from Valshot, up to golf ball size hail starting off this morning as this line continues to track to the south and the east. The watch, it's been moving to the east. The watch has actually been expanding to the east all morning long. Right now, it extends from just near Stroud down to about Durant. Won't be surprised if it keeps expanding a little further to the east as this line keeps shoving south and on to the east this morning, moving across parts of central and southern Oklahoma. So as we look at the view on radar right now, let's go to Lynx 3, and we'll show you these storms that are moving from Union City, near Minco, near Tuttle, the Tiger Safari area, Bridge Creek, over toward Norman right now. There is Brandon. We'll check if Brandon.
Let's we
check
should go
with
to
him
Brandon
shortly here, and then Blanchard. Let's go a little further south. Rain extends down toward the Goldsby area, over toward Purcell and Washington. So these are the same areas that had all the rainfall, the flooding from yesterday. And that's right where Brandon is right now. Brandon, you were out in it once again this morning. Got that rain moving in. Let's get an update from you.
Brandon.
Yeah, Jed, I just came through Newcastle, headed south on 62 to Highway 9 and the Spur area. As I came through Newcastle, just had extremely heavy rainfall, not really any wind to speak of, and no hail. So, but this storm's just now developing, so we'll see what happens here in the next 15, 20 minutes as it moves into the more southeast Oklahoma City area. Back to you.
So as Cassie kind of drives the radar here, we're watching these storms in the south sides of the metro right here. And you can see that core starting to intensify as it moves up past Bridge Creek. It's now moving up to the west sides of Moore, west sides of Norman, and it is now severe. The winds with this, Cassie, about 60 on this.
Here, let me look at our velocity product,
okay,
and I'm going to put this into play mode and see what we've got going on. I really don't see a whole lot of wind with this. Looks like on Mesonet, we're still talking 25 to 30 miles an hour, so that's exactly what Brandon was saying. There's just not a whole lot of wind right now with this particular severe storm. I think at this point, we would see more of a hailstorm. And that would also be a few miles north and east of where Brandon is, so no surprise, Brandon's not seeing any hail right now, but we could be seeing up to quarter-size hail, and that's going to be just a couple miles south of Newcastle. Okay, very good. So you can see the hail core right there just south of Newcastle. That's lifting north, so it is starting to expand, starting to develop a bit more. So the south sides of the metro under some severe weather right now. Main story here is heavy rainfall and some quarter-size hail tracking back up across Moore, Norman. Heavy rainfall moving into areas that were inundated with rainfall yesterday. Not much recovery, so we're going to continue to track that.
Are y'all fixing to come to me in a second because we're going to have to make a quick pit stop.
Okay. So Val Castor's talking right there. Val, you had that hail come through here just a moment ago. You're still in the Anadarko area. Let's get a quick update from you.
Yeah, so the hail has ended, and it did get up to golf ball size, and it was coming down sideways. I guarantee you there's going to be damage in Anadarko to cars and possibly even roofs also. And also I can see we're at the gas station right now waiting for it to stop raining enough to fuel up because we're on fumes right now. But I can see in the intersection out there that it's over the curb. It's over the curbs in that intersection, the whole intersection. So I would say 8 inches deep water on some of these streets in Anadarko, and we're going to get out here in just a little bit and probably see more of it. Back to you.
All right, very good. Let's check in with Tom Pastrano. Tom, you were out yesterday in the Norman area dealing with that flooding rainfall. Let's get an update where you're at right now and talk about those storms moving in.
I do see a little bit of lightning, but I am going to maybe drift just a little bit south to get into that big core down south of me. Back to you.
Okay, so that was Tom. We got his audio up there just a second ago, but he's in the Moore area right now. That storm is moving up, moving in, and as we look at the view on radar once again, links 3, it shows kind of this 2 wave of rain and storms coming in. Wave number 1 right now extends from Union City through Tuttle, back over toward where Brandon's at right now, back into the Purcell area. Then wave number 2 right here, all tracking up as well. So it's the same areas from yesterday getting inundated once again, and the rainfall rates through the roof once again. Just torrential rainfall this morning, Cassie. So that's the big story. Rainfall totals, rainfall rates right now up around 5, 6, 7 inches. Where you see purple, it's close to 7 inches. I mean, we are rocking it once again in these areas. So the story has been this morning, flooding rainfall up to the north and west of these areas, but now new flash flood warnings going on now from near Lakiba, Coger, Gracemont, over toward where Jeremy's at, to just south of Amber, near the Chickasha area, up toward Tuttle. So, Cassie, rainfall continues here this morning. It is cranked up once again.
Oh, yeah. No, the rain's definitely coming down, and out west, where we've just seen so much rain over the past couple of days, we definitely have had some flooding around Clinton, and that's what Marty Logan has been keeping an eye on for us there. I don't believe he's on any flooding right now, but let's go ahead and look at what radar is showing. Most of the heavy rain, it's going to be around parts of Caddo and moving into Grady County. We also have just several severe thunderstorm warnings that producing up to about 60-mile-an-hour wind gust, and around a golf ball size hail. We have not seen anything really a whole lot larger than that. Looking at our
Marty has a flood story for you.
Okay, we're going to come to Marty here in just a moment, but I do want to point out that this particular storm that's moving right into Verdon, it is showing up to baseball size hail, but looking at radar, I would not be surprised, and it's moving in pretty quickly, so it's moving right on top of Verdon pretty much right now. The strongest hail core is about a half a mile just to the west of the city of Verdon, so would not be surprised if we're going to get a lot of damage there. We just had an update. We're going to continue that flash flood warning for Caddo, Custer, and Washita, and speaking of that, we've got Marty Logan, and he's got a flooding update in Clinton.
Yeah, so what we had a while ago on that last hit, Kyle was getting a phone call, and it was a Clinton firefighter. He lives up, was it Riverside? Riverview Drive. He has about 2 inches of water in his house. He went on shift this morning. Everything was all right. Wife calls him. We got 2 inches of water running through the house. The neighbor on the corner said they had 4 inches of rain fell this morning. And then the firefighter that his house was affected, there were 2 other firefighters with him in that deuce and a half, that fire truck. And when they drove out, there was probably a foot to foot and a half of water right there on the road. So heavy flooding. The rain is light now, but there's still a lot of runoff. Back to you, Cass.
Oh, yeah, Marty. We're just going to continue to see lots of rain, at least through the first part of our morning into early afternoon. Later this afternoon, everything will push off to the south and will start to dry out again. The good news is we're really not expecting a whole lot of more storm chances after today. We do have a slight chance kind of here and there, but nothing like what we've been experiencing these past couple of mornings. What I'm doing right now is kind of showing that severe thunderstorm warning over McLean and Cleveland County. It's moving right over Norman right now. We're looking at that storm that's right in between Brandon Pennell and where Tom Pastrano is. It's moving to the north and east into Oklahoma County. It's moving east-northeast at about 30 miles an hour. So it should be at Moore at 843, OU at 842, the airport at 846, downtown Oklahoma City at 902, Midwest City at 904, Newalla at 920, McLeod at 930. Here's the good news. It doesn't look nearly as strong as some of these other storms that radar has been putting out. It does show that we could see up to golf ball size hail, but that would be very isolated with this storm. We're going to see more P's than anything as it eventually moves into downtown Norman. You can kind of see where heyday is. Eventually, we could see pea-sized hail here in the next 5 minutes or so. It's about a half to a full mile just west of I-35, but that's also moving to the north and east. And even better news, yes, this storm track does have some of these storms moving into downtown Oklahoma City, but we are going to be on the south sides of this. So downtown Oklahoma City could be missing out on some of the biggest hail. So that is some great news there. We're also going to check out our wind velocity product and kind of look at what kind of wind gusts we're getting out of this. I'm really not seeing anything that stands out to me at this point, at least coming into the metro. However, we do have some much stronger wind gusts coming towards Pecassid and around Chickasha, where Jeremy is. It's heading towards Highway 81. I'm going to kind of query some of this data, and it looks like, yeah, we're talking maybe upwards of around 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And looking at our mesonet sites, I'm not seeing anything more than about 45 miles an hour. We've got a 42-mile-an-hour wind gust right around Apache. The bad news with some of these storms is we've got a lot of power outages. The last time I checked, it looks like, especially in Caddo County, that's where we've had kind of the most. We've got a little over 4,500 customers without power in Caddo County. Canadian County, it's not nearly as much. It's about a little over 500. Still too many, but we're going to continue to get some power outages with some of these strong wind gusts. And of course, we do have still some hail within this, and we've got lots of pockets of up to quarter-size hail, but there have been some isolated pockets where we're seeing golf balls to up to tennis ball size hail. So that same kind of area where we're seeing those stronger wind gusts upwards of around 50 miles an hour moving towards Pecassid along Highway 81, that's where we could be seeing up to tennis ball size hail. But looking at radar, it doesn't look nearly as ominous. We certainly have some very heavy rain moving in. It's all kind of moving off to the east at about 30 miles an hour. And looking at Anadarko, you can kind of see where Val is. He is on Highway 62. And Val, are you heading east?
You know, I'm getting ready to head east here. I was just wanting to show you this flooding here. This whole there's a quarter of a mile here that's probably 8 to 10 inches deep on this intersection right here. It's on Highway 62.
Have you seen many cars out in this kind of flooding? I see obviously that one in front of you, but
there's a lot of cars out in it right now. I haven't seen any cars stalled or anything
yet.
But I have a feeling we will.
Yeah. And this storm is also actually headed towards Jeremy. Jeremy, if you could hear me, which direction are you heading? We do have, I would say, looking at radar, you've got some golf ball sized hail about 7 to 8 miles to your west.
Well, I'm actually turning around and headed west just to see what's over there. So I'll be headed towards Vernon now on Highway 9.
Okay.
And, of course, the rain's picking up and the wind's starting to pick up. So we're about to get into the thick of it all.
Okay. And Jeremy, I'm going to have you head northeast on I-44 when you get a chance. We have a tornado warning coming for, it's near Amber, so in Grady County. I'm looking at our velocity product, and we definitely have some broad rotation, and there's the tornado warning, okay? It's going to be, if we have a tornado, it's going to be right around the Salt Creek Casino, and it's going to be south of Pecassid. So they're saying it's also kind of, it's exactly moving to the south and east, and it's moving at about 45 miles an hour. So it's going to be moving towards the city of Amber. Jeremy?
Okay, so I'm on Highway 9. I just made a U-turn here in Chickasha, and I'll get back over on the highway. It'll take me right into Amber.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so Jeremy is headed towards that rotation. Now, here's the thing with these storms, okay? We do have that tornado warning, but some of these storms are going to wrap up really quick, and then they could broaden and weaken very quickly just the same. So this may not last very long, but nonetheless, we do have a new tornado warning for the town of Pecassid. So if you are in Pecassid, you've got this tornado warning. You have to get to your safe spot now in the lowest level of your home, your storm shelter, in a closet or in a bathroom, somewhere where you do not have any windows, the innermost part of your home. That is where you have to be right now. It is about 1-2 miles to the south and west of the town of Pecassid, and it's going to move right over the Salt Creek Casino. So we're talking Highway 81, and it's moving to the south and east at about 45 miles an hour. So it is moving very quickly. So keeping an eye on where this rotation is. It's tightened up just a little bit. It's not the tightest storm I've ever seen, I'm not going to lie. So it certainly wouldn't be a strong tornado by any means. We would have a weak tornado if anything, and we have not had any ground truth of there actually being a tornado. This is radar indicated. It does look like we obviously have some rotation. There could be a tornado, and if we do, it's going to be just right over Pecassid, heading right over the Salt Creek Casino, and it's moving to the south and east at about 40 to 45 miles an hour. You can see that it's going to stay about 5 to 6 miles north of the city of Chickasha. Chickasha, I'm not too concerned with you right now. I would still probably be in your safe spot just to be safe. But the next place that would be headed would be around Tabler or even Middleburg. We're going to have to see how this pans out. But right now, it's generally drifting to the south and east at about 40 to 45 miles an hour. We're kind of looking at some other storm reports we have coming in. It looks like Rush Springs. So again, Grady County, Rush Springs, we've had up to golf ball size hail. So putting this back on reflectivity mode. Again, looking at this, it's really hard to see where that rotation is. It's just going to be rain wrap. That's another dangerous part of this particular tornado warning is it's going to be very difficult to see because of all the wind and all the rain. So if we do have a tornado, it'd be hard to see. It would be rain wrap. But again, it's going to be right over Pecasset, moving right along Highway 81. Bad timing, especially when we've got a lot of people probably headed off to work at this point. It's still showing a possible tornado and looking at anything around it. Obviously, some very heavy rain, and unfortunately, we could also be seeing some hail with this. We've got up to at least quarter-size hail right over Pecasset, and maybe some larger hailstones of up to golf ball size hail. We also have Brandon, and he's right around the Norman area. Brandon, if you can hear me, what direction are you headed right now?
Well, Cassie, I went down to the spur, and then I made a big loop, and I'm coming back into Newcastle. I was already trapped on the turnpike when the tornado warning come out, so I'm getting back into Newcastle and then going to blast south on 62 down towards Blanchard, Tabler area to try to get back out in front of the tornado warning. Back to you.
Okay, thanks so much, guys. Again, let's go ahead and go back to links 3. I'm just going to kind of follow where this tornado warning is going, looking at our shear rate product. We certainly have some spin, but again, earlier around Dutton and just west and southwest of Pecasset, just a few moments ago, that's when it looked like it was at its strongest, but it is weakening. We got an open mic somewhere. I'm talking to the storm tracker. So there we go. So that is headed just right over the Salt Creek Casino, and it's also headed towards Amber. Looking at our velocity product. Still seeing some strong winds, certainly seeing some rotation, but it is very broad, if anything. So again, if there were a tornado, it would be rain wrap. There would be quite a bit of rain with that, maybe some hail, but it's so broad right now. It doesn't look very strong at all, which is some great news for us. Looking at our max rotation product, again, it's going to be on the weaker side. And at this point, it's going to be, let's kind of look at our velocity product once again. And now it's going to be just a couple miles south of Pecasset. And it's moving to the southeast. It's moving very quickly. It's moving at about 40 to 45. I would say Amber, if you were in Amber, you need to be in your safe spot right now. You need to be in the lowest level of your home, the innermost part of your home, no windows. We're talking bathroom, a closet. Make sure to be covered with everything that you can, because we certainly have some strong wind, and it looks like it's actually starting to tighten up a little bit, unfortunately, guys. This is going to be 1, 2, 3 miles south of the Salt Creek Casino, east of Highway 81. So the main circulation has already crossed Highway 81. Again, it's moving southeast at about 40 to 45 miles an hour. So I'm going to stop it right now, and I'm going to do a track. I'm going to fix this track, and I'm doing it on where the rotation would be. So if there were a tornado, this is where it would be. I'm doing a track, and it looks like I'm going to kind of take these cities down a little bit. Middleburg at 9:05. Right now it's 8:49, so you've got about 10 to 15 minutes if it were to do more of an easterly turn. Dibble at 9:16, Kreiner at 9:24, Purcell at 9:38, Wayne 9:45, Paola 9:54, Pauls Valley at 10:01, Wynnewood at 10:11, Joy at 10:16, Oil Center at 10:26, and Kanawha at 10:30. Jeremy, you're getting a little bit closer to where that circulation is going to be. I'm going to zoom in and kind of see how many miles. You're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 miles to your north-northwest. Jeremy, what are you seeing? Go ahead and give us an update.
Yeah, Cassie, I'm 8 miles south of Amber, and I've got some pretty rugged winds coming on here out of the west, and the rain is really pretty.
Okay. We got you, Jeremy. Okay. We're losing you. If you hear us, Jeremy, if you do get an update, just go ahead and jump right on. So keep Jeremy's mic hot because.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
I'm back here. So I'm just south of Amber, and I mean we got pretty intense westerly winds, and I mean you can see the clouds. They're somewhat low, not nothing incredibly low right now, but I'm going to continue to make my march north towards Amber.
Okay, that's perfect, Jeremy. And it looks like, yeah, you would be right on State Highway 92. So if you just head to north, you're going to have to bust it pretty quickly, get up there. It's going to be the strongest rotation now is going to be just 2 miles west of State Highway 92. It's going to stay to the northeast of the Chickasha Airport. It's going to be about 2 miles to the northeast of the Chickasha Airport. That's where the strongest rotation is. So at this point, I would say it's going to miss Chickasha. It's going to stay north and east of the city of Chickasha, and it might also miss Amber, but Amber, I would still be in your safe spot. You still have some very strong wind there. Jed, you have an update?
Yeah, I do have an update. Let's go to Links 1. We'll show you a different view on this. This is looking at the terminal radar, which is in the Oklahoma City area down at the airport, and you can see where the winds were much more intense right there, just a little bit to the west of Pocasset right in there. Those winds have tended to come down now as this kind of works its way down. Don't see a whole lot of really strong toward and away on this. There's probably, like we had earlier today, kind of a broad circulation, but not seeing anything really significant here. This is if it's going to be a tornado, it's going to be small. It'll be more likely a funnel as it tracks across these areas. But again, and this is one of the best radars we have. It's closest to where the circulation is right now. So north of Chickasha, this area near Pocasset and Amber, circulation continues in those areas, not quite as intense as it was. But again, these are tracking up toward Oklahoma City. So Cassie, what a wild morning. Got the storms, got the wind, got the rain, got the lightning, and now a little bit of tornado action as well.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of everything right now. I'm still concerned about that tornado that could potentially be there. Have not had any ground truth of a tornado, so that's good news, but we're certainly seeing it on radar. We do have some tight rotation that is moving. It's going to be east of Highway 81, so now we're talking about 3 miles south of Pocasset. We do see it a lot better here on the TDWR radar.
Yeah.
It definitely looks a little bit tighter.
Right in here.
Within the past minute or so, it's broadened a little bit. It would be just to the south and southwest, about a mile or so of Amber, and Jeremy is heading to the north, and he's only about 4 to 5 miles away, where if we were to have a tornado, then that's where it would be. Okay,
let's take a look at the broad view. Let's kind of look at the view of the metro area as we look at the rainfall that's going on right now. So Oklahoma City is right here. So you can see, just put things into perspective. I know we're kind of waiting for the rain to move in. The way this is setting up, it's moving over the same areas that we had the rainfall from yesterday. So the concern there is going to be for additional flooding this morning. Rainfall rates once again through the roof. Flash flooding is a big concern from near Mustang, Tuttle, down to Amber, Blanchard, Chickasha, down toward Nennecaw. These areas, again, lots of rainfall yesterday. More here starting off this morning. They're fairly slow moving. It's over the same areas for a while, so flash flooding is going to be a concern. Lacey?
We're watching those power outages, Jed, as well. We have an update of the number here, Lace.
Yeah, go ahead and pop them up. It looks like we're fluctuating right around the 13,000 mark, and that is Blaine, Ouachita. If we could pop up that graphic, guys. Blaine, Ouachita, Caddo, and Custer counties. And that number slowly going up as that storm marches east, guys.
Good, Cassie.
Okay. So again, I wanted to kind of talk about what's happening in the Oklahoma City metro. Right now, we were hearing some thunder here at the station, so we do have some lightning, but that's pretty much it in Oklahoma County. We have some light to moderate rain. We also have some lightning. The severe storms are going to be well to the south. Now, eventually, some of these storms could make it into downtown Oklahoma City, but the trend is that they're going to stay south of the Oklahoma City metro. More in particular, we're talking about the tornado warning that is right around Amber, and Jeremy is getting a little bit closer to that. I'm going to put it on our velocity product once again. And Jeremy, you are just a couple miles away from where this rotation is. Can you give us any more of an update?
Yeah, I really can't see much of anything, Cassie, for the rain. And I mean, a little bit back a few miles, had a strong westerly wind. To hear the wind's kind of relaxed a little bit, and hopefully I can get a view of it here shortly. Back to you.
Thanks so much. And this is going to be the problem with this, the fact that we have so much wind and so much rain that if there were a weak tornado, it would be very, very hard to see. It would be rain ramp, that's for sure. The good news is it does weak. There is rotation, but it does look weak. So if there were a tornado, it would be very weak at best. And looking at our shear rate product, you know, we've been doing this for several months now. We're getting into summer. We've done this so many times during the spring, and we've all seen where shear rate product is just so wrapped up, and we start to see those darker reds. Well, earlier this morning, we had that just west and southwest of Pecassid, but as it continues to move south and east at about 40 to 45 miles an hour, we have not seen that. It's been on a downward spiral. It's still there. It's definitely still there, but it's not strong by any means. Looking at our max rotation product, still not seeing a whole lot of it. It's suggesting that, yes, we do have some rotation. We certainly have rotation with this storm, but okay. And Val's actually, okay, and Val is moving into Chickasha. He's going to be just outside of where that tornado warning is. And again, I do expect that this tornado, this rotation is going to stay north and east of Chickasha. Val, you want to go ahead and give us an update on what you're seeing as you're coming into town?
Yeah, so we're just barely west of Chickasha here. We're on the backside of the wrap. We're getting northwest winds at 60 miles an hour, and it's been pretty constant, pretty much all the way from just west of Verdon all the way to here. There's a lot of water on the roads, and, I mean, it's at times the visibility is down to near zero because of the strong winds and the spray and all of that. Not seeing any hail at the moment, but these winds are bad enough. Back to you.
What did you say your max wind speeds were, Val?
60 miles an hour. But, I mean, it's been really consistent above 50 sustained. It hasn't let up any at all. We've had gusts up to 60. Back to you.
Okay. All right.
And getting it right now.
Okay. Yeah. It's going to be a really terrible situation for anyone that works that 9-to-5 job. You're trying to get into work, and it's just going to be very difficult to drive. It's going to be really hard to see right now with the heavy rain and the strong wind. And, of course, we still have some pockets of hail. And kind of looking at some of these power outages, it looks like Grady County, we're up to about almost 350 customers without power. Canadian County has gone up in numbers. It looks like a little over 1,000 customers in Canadian County without power. And looking at our velocity product, it almost looks like we have two areas of spin right now. I'm also kind of listening to our storm trackers right now. And Jeremy, you'd be right on top of it. You'd be right in the middle.
Cassie, the wind is just insane out here. The semi driver, he's had to slow down and practically stop on the road. But I've seen trees down, and no doubt there's going to be power lines down. Whether there's a tornado in here or not, I can't see for the blinding rain, Cassie.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, it's moving so quickly. So, Jeremy, you're on Highway 92. Are you moving north right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right up against Amber, and you can see that you really have zero visibility here on the road. And it's just terrible to drive in. Back to you.
Okay. All right. And
I would say at least 70-mile-an-hour winds.
Geez.
So for sure.
Okay. So yeah, this is going to be really difficult to drive in, and it's all moving south and east. So it's also moving. It's going to be right on top of Highway 44 pretty much here in the next couple of minutes or so. That's where we're also going to see some of the strongest wind. So we're going to have some traffic issues. That's for certain. People are going to have to either just stop. They're going to have to pull over. Use your flashers if you have to be out and about. This is not a good time to be out if we have wind gusts approaching 60, 70 mile an hour. The good news is the tornado warning, they are allowing it to expire. The not so great news is I'm still seeing some rotation, okay? And at this point, it's still going to be south and east of Amber by about a mile or two. It went right on top of where Jeremy is, and Jeremy could not see a tornado. Again, we have not had a confirmed tornado. It just kind of looks like we have some obvious rotation on radar. It's tornado, or it's radar indicated, so there's been no confirmed tornado. That's great news, but the rotation is definitely there, and at this point, it's going to be just a couple of miles south and east of Amber. And it's also headed towards Middleburg, and it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would say it's about 8 miles to the north and west of Middleburg. So it is still there. In fact, it looks like we might have another area of rotation that is going to be south, about 4 to 5 miles south of Amber. Was that a storm tracker? What was that? Jeremy? Okay, Jeremy, go ahead and give us an update.
Yeah, Cassie, take a look at these winds with what I got here. I mean, this has kind of simmered down from what it was, but I mean, this is no joke. If you're out here driving around in this, you can't hardly get down the road at all.
Jeez. Okay. Okay. Make sure to, can you zoom up, look at those power lines? I want to see those power lines. Someone let David in the door.
Yeah, and I could see these power lines popping off in at any second. You know, it's just everything's under a lot of stress here, and the wind is very, very intense.
Yeah, I'm going to be real surprised if we don't get a ton more power outages coming soon right over Grady County. And Brandon, you're going to be east of where these storms are coming in. You've got some strong storms over you right now. Brandon, let's look at your shot. Yeah, you've got some heavy, heavy rain and some wind. Go ahead and give us an update.
Yeah, Cassie, I'm just now coming into Blanchard. One thing I can say is as the storm intensified, as I was coming through Newcastle, the south side of Newcastle at the high school, the power went out, and the power was out all the way to the spur at Highway 9 and 62. The traffic lights were out. The power is on in Blanchard. Just torrential rainfall right now, though, going on in Blanchard. Speeds like 30, 35 miles an hour on Highway 62. Back to you.
All right, yeah, no surprise there. And Tom, you're just east of that. You're going to be just north of Norman. I know you've got some heavy rain moving in. Right now, we actually do have a new flash flood warning that includes pretty much the entire metro. We're talking Canadian, Cleveland, Grady, McLean, Oklahoma County, and that goes until noon today. Tom, do you have an update?
Yeah, Cassie, I'm coming into Norman right now. And when I was on the west side of Norman, maybe about 10, 15 minutes ago, I did have some dime and nickel-sized hail. That has let up, but there's a lot of flooding. It just doesn't take much here in Norman right now with all the rain we had yesterday. Some of the water is going over the curb. So if I'm in Norman or anywhere in the metro, I'd probably wait maybe an hour or two before I'd get out. Back to you.
Yeah, and Tom, I'd almost kind of stay around the town of Norman at this point. You've got a whole lot of rain moving in your direction, and we all know that it doesn't take more than a shower for Norman to start to flood. So we're going to have some real issues around Norman. And Jeremy, he's still around Amber. He's on Highway 92, and he's where that circulation was. The tornado warning is no longer there. I do want to point that out, but you have some very heavy rain, and you do have some pockets of small hail around you. Go ahead and give us an update.
It might be gone, but I'm telling you, these winds are pretty significant here in Amber. I mean, you can't even see the road. The drainage ditches are flat out full, and you can see the trees are all buckled over from the wind. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Jeremy. And we do have that other area of circulation that we were talking about earlier. We had kind of two areas at one point, but now it's more one area. And where we're seeing the more tightened circulation is going to be just north and east, about 2 miles north and east of where Pecasset is. It's also headed towards you, Jeremy. It's headed towards Highway 92. It's about a mile west of Highway 92. It's moving right towards the city of Amber. It's tightened up just a little bit. What are your winds doing right now, Jeremy?
My winds are ripping here, Cassie. I don't know if you're talking to me for sure, but
yes,
this is in Amber. The tornado sirens are blaring off. I mean, look at the wind blowing around these poles here on this awning. I mean, it's very, very intense. Every bit of 75, maybe 80.
All right. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and look at our mesonet sites. And I'm not seeing anything on our mesonet sites, but of course, the mesonet sites are not everywhere. Okay. So we're only seeing about 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts on there, but we have ground truth from our storm trackers of 70 to 80 mile an hour winds as it's crossing Highway 92 right in the city of Amber. You can just see just from Jeremy's shot, not a good situation to be in. I'm just looking at some of our other reports coming in, and we've got some trees that have been uprooted or snapped off, and a roof has been blown off. Not sure what type of building that is, but that is 2 miles east-northeast of Chickasha, and that's where Val and Amy are. Val, what are you seeing around Chickasha? Go ahead and give us an update.
Okay, Cassie, so right now we are just east of Chickasha. We're trying to get out ahead of where the rotation is to our northeast. When we came through Chickasha, we were getting wind gusts as high as about 65 miles an hour in and around on the north side of Chickasha. Also in Chickasha, there's some pretty significant street flooding going on, and I would suspect that flooding is going to get even worse. And all of this is outflow winds from the northwest. The circulation, which I guess the gust front probably wraps back into our north and northeast. We're going to get out ahead of that and watch it, but there is a big, broad area of these kind of 60-plus mile-an-hour winds, basically behind the gust front, just a big area of those kind of winds. There will be wind damage, and we said that before in Chickasha due to the straight line winds, Cassie.
All right, Val, thanks so much. And again, we're still talking about the winds coming into the city or just east of Chickasha, but moving into Tabler, also moving right over Middleburg. We have another kind of area, broad rotation around Middleburg, but a much tighter rotation, area of rotation right around the city of Amber. And it's going to be right on top of Jeremy Carter. And Jeremy, I am looking at your shot. It still looks like a whole lot of mess out there. It's moving right across Highway 92 as we're following the second area of rotation. Again, not tornado warned. There is no tornado warning out there. Again, no tornado. But there is some rotation, there is some very strong wind and some very heavy rain. Jeremy, go ahead and give us an update.
Oh yeah, Cassie, hang on a second. I've actually got a roof that's damaged here, but you can see the water, how much water here is on the roads. But I mean, the winds have let up significantly here. But I mean, tell you, it was getting it on back.
All right, thanks so much, Jeremy. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at Lynx 3 real quick. I'm just going to kind of show you what's going on right now. We have lots of severe thunderstorm warnings that include all of central Oklahoma, all the way down to Lawton into southwest Oklahoma around Cache, Frederick, Davidson, Loveland, Chattanooga. Everything's moving off to the east-northeast at about 30 miles an hour. Could see quarter to up to golf ball size hail, wind gusts potentially 70 to 80 miles an hour. Our trackers are in. David Payne is also in. We're going to take a break real quick, kind of regroup, and we